Morning guys, back on the trails again, ready with an update. It's been 2 weeks and a day since I rolled my ankle, so it's feeling pretty good now. I did get some bruising and some swelling. The swelling went down after a couple of days and the bruising went after about a week, but not really had any pain with it. Really have to push it into a...
In 18 meters, keep left at the fork.
Pardon me, commute. Really have to push it into a range of motion that simulates, twisting my ankle pretty hard to get any kind of soreness from it, and that's only mild, so it's feeling good. I've been running, easing back into it. Out for a 14
In 13 meters, keep left onto 5 Pits Trail.
I'm going to keep left onto the 5 Pits Trail, as instructed. You may have guessed I've got commute telling me where to go again. And I'm out in the Ultra Timps, the Timp 2s, which are my first zero drop shoes, so I'm enjoying
Follow
those.
this way for 900 meters.
Oh, 900 meters of peace, sounds good to me. So yeah, I've been getting on well with them, just eased into them, first time in zero drops like I say, so seems to be getting used to them now, no issues with the calves or Achilles or anything, so that's going well. And yeah, I've done something to my phone settings since my last video when I pressed the down volume and it stopped the recording. I changed the settings so the down volume just turned the volume down. So now the remote control on my selfie stick turns the volume down instead of stopping or starting the recording. So well done, Mark, didn't really think about that. So this button in my hand's totally useless. But yeah, a few more things to update you on. I'll add some more later on the run. Volume down. So, still on the 5 Pits Trail, heading towards the village of Heath, which is the closest village to the M1 junction 29. So I'll be going as far as the M1 roundabout, where there's a nice little forested path that runs underneath the roundabout and then briefly pops up next to the traffic and then pops back down again. So quite good fun. I've been there a few times. Been heading out there. So all my runs since the ankle issue have been easy, including this one. Just gradually built up the distance from really slow to just a little bit further. I've done sort of 10k, 11k. This one will be 14 for the first time. I'll pause recording there if somebody went past. Feel a bit odd capturing people on video without permission. So anyway, yeah, 14k today. Nice and easy one. I'm doing it on a Sunday because it's been a busy weekend. Long run's usually Saturday, but my daughter's birthday was this week, and yesterday we drove down to Thorpe Park, which is pretty much London as far as we're concerned, driving down there from Chesterfield, nearly 3 hours driving, and dropped my daughter and friends off at Thorpe Park so they could go on the roller coasters and so on, and then my wife and I went to Hampton Court Palace to have a look around there, try and remember to drop in a couple of photos, and then went and picked them back up on the way home and did the 2.5 hour drive back home. Got back for about almost 8 o'clock at night, so it was a long day. Did about 12,000 steps walking around the palace and the grounds, which were very nice. And yeah, got up early this morning, set off about 7 a.m.
Take the next left.
I'm going to take the next left. Set off about 7 a.m. for this long run. So yeah, it's good to be out again. Feeling good, feeling strong. Cardio feels good. I think the enforced rest has actually helped. I hadn't been taking any breaks
Now
from
turn
running.
left.
I'm going to turn left, yes. Been taking no breaks from running for a good while, so just easing off for a week or two there has left me feeling good, feeling strong. Cardio's pretty much okay. Can even talk, so that's always a good sign. And
Follow this way for 700 meters.
things are going well. Yeah, the biggest news I'll save for a bit later on. Yeah, so I've had the idea of entering my first ever race for a while now. It's just been going around in my head, thinking about it occasionally, wondering what kind of race I would enter, what distance, where I would go, whether I'd maybe try parkrun first, because I've never done that yet. And parkrun was my favourite idea for a while, but then a couple of things happened. On YouTube I got suggested some videos by Dark and White, I think it's called, who organise some trail runs around the Bakewell area, which is near to me and where I grew up. And he kind of previews the courses that they've done for their events in the past. Look really good. So favourited their website. I'm sure I'll be entering one of their races at some point. And then the other night I drove past Chatsworth, again in the Bakewell area, and I was just giving my wife and her friends a lift back from a wedding do. So as I went through Chatsworth, there was a sign up advertising the Chatsworth 10k. And I thought, okay, that might be good. So I looked that up on the website the next day, and yeah, looks like me. Of course, running around the grounds of Chatsworth House, and where the Duke lives, and it involves some pretty steep hills, some trails through the forest, some regular footpaths. Don't really have the exact route, but looks fun anyway. And it's 10k, so I know I can manage the distance. My PR isn't unbeatable at this stage, being only 57 minutes and 4 seconds, so in race conditions maybe I can try and break that, which will add to the fun. So I'm booked in for September the 12th, Sunday. Pretty excited, so got that to look forward to now. Bit of rough ground here to test the ankle. I have been on mixed terrain prior to this and it's dealt with it okay. Feeling strong, no pain or anything, no soreness. It feels just as nimble as the other foot. I was a bit wary for the first few runs, of course. Really didn't want to go over on it again after the trauma of the first incident. But yeah, pretty much back to normal now. No issues with it. I'm doing some exercises, the old writing your alphabet with your big toe, just to get it going through all the range of motion. That's, yeah, straightforward, but helps to keep it mobile and strengthened a bit. So all of that, and yeah, so far so good. Here we are in Heath. Nice quaint old village, far from the motorway.
Take the next right.
And it's a public footpath through somebody's garden.
Now turn right onto path.
It's always fun. I won't try and turn the commute volume down today, so I know that stops the recording. I like to get run over. Always a plus. Here we are, running down somebody's drive.
Follow this way for 450 meters.
Yep, there we go. Out of the garden into the field. Oh, nettles, yay! Ooh. Right, the path isn't overly well defined, or seemingly well used, but been here a few times before, and it's pretty good. The terrain's a little bit bumpy, so keep my eye on the terrain, look after the ankle. Yeah, getting my feet wet, all this lovely wet grass and weeds. Plenty of dock leaves around if I get stung. Right, so as soon as I get on a flat bit, I'll explain a little bit more about what happened with my ankle, the approach I've been using to rehab it, and yeah, just explain a bit about, whoa, nearly twisted my ankle, danger, danger, stop talking. Yeah, this is one of those paths where the grass covers the divots and the rough bits, but yeah, my ankle appears to be strong enough to recover from a near little twist, so yeah, I think it's getting back to normal. Catch you on a flat bit. Here we are, the roundabout's up there, for junction 29 of the motorway, and we go under here to the trails.
Now turn right.
Here we go, as the path ramps up, we get to see the traffic pop up next to the road. Cross over the motorway. Not too busy at this time on a Sunday morning. And after that brief visit, pop back down. Squirrel just jumped out in front of me. Morning fella. Nice jump. He goes. Not at all using this as an excuse to catch my breath. I think I almost forgot to cover my ankle recovery and the methods I used after promising it earlier in the video. Thought I'd better throw this in. Yeah, so I looked into the best ways to recover from a sprained ankle and read up a bit about the injury. I think mine was somewhere between a grade 1 and grade 2. Grade 3's horrendous, and I didn't have enough pain for it to be a grade 2, but there was a bit more bruising than you'd expect on a grade 1, so it's like I was somewhere in between the two. And having read about recovery methods, obviously rice is a well-known and popular one. It's been around for quite a long time, but rather than just reading up on what I'd heard about and following that, what I prefer to do is read about people who suggest alternatives as well, and then try and take a balanced view on the different opinions, different methods that people come up with, decide which one seems to fit my situation best. So I read about rice, which is rest, ice, compression, elevation, and then I read about, you know, people debunking it basically and coming up with their own acronyms. Everyone's got an acronym. There's MICE, if you have movement instead of rest, and MEAT. I can't quite remember what that one was all about, but yeah, everyone's got their own. So I read about the pros and cons of each element of the recovery method and decided what would be best for me. Now, the resting part of rice, yeah, sounds reasonable if you've got, you know, a painful injury, can't move it without hurting yourself, then yeah, give it some rest until it's not painful. But I wasn't really in that situation. As you saw on the video, I ran home after spraining my ankle. I was able to walk fine on it straight away. Was able to do some running the next day or two, and I decided that moving was better than resting. My thoughts being that you would quite easily be able to immobilize it, but then you're just teaching it to be immobilized. A joint that you want to get moving, preferably as quickly and safely as possible. So moving it helps to get the blood flow going, helps to keep it being used to what it's supposed to do, which is not being immobilized. So you have an L shape on the end of your leg, permanently not moving, and you know, things just seize up. So yeah, I preferred movement to rest in this case because there was no pain and wasn't exacerbating the injury by keeping it moving, and that, you know, that felt good. That felt like the right thing to do. Ice, never used ice for any injury. I think the idea with the ice is if you have a huge amount of swelling around the site, beyond what you think is normal, particularly early on, then you can use that just to kind of flush it out, get the waste materials pumped away from the zone, but they should return because the swelling is a natural part of the healing process. You know, the body's sending what it needs to the site in order to conduct the repair. So it's going to swell up. You can't send more stuff to the site without it swelling up. That's just physically impossible. So the swelling's a good sign as long as it's not excessive. From what I've read, obviously don't take any of this as advice because I'm not qualified in the slightest. But yeah, I did what I thought fitted my situation. It wasn't swollen that badly. It just looked like a normal recovery process taking place. After a couple of days it went down. So yeah, didn't need to ice in this case. Compression, again, it's a way of reducing the swelling, and if the swelling's normal, not excessive, just the healing process taking place, I had no intention of you know, forcing everything away from the zone and keeping it out, stopping the healing from taking place at the rate that your body is kind of programmed to do it. So I left it to its own devices there. I did use a bit of elevation, reclined on the sofa with my foot on a couple of cushions just to help the waste materials flow away for a short period of time while I was, you know, watching TV or YouTube or something on the telly. So yeah, I just used elevation just to get gravity on the right side for when the waste materials were being cleared from the zone, and yeah, whether that helped, who knows, but it seemed good at the time, and the recovery seems to have gone well. So I didn't use rice, I just used E. There you go, E helps with all injuries. That's my advice. No, it's not. Don't do drugs, kids. Just say no. So what else did I use? Yeah, basically just kept it mobile, kept it moving. As I mentioned, you know, writing big alphabet letters with your foot to get the ankle moving all around, and yeah, walking on it, easing into running when I could, and just getting my ankle doing what my ankle's supposed to do, making sure there was no pain and I wasn't overdoing it, so I was risking turning it again. You know, my early runs were short and on flat terrain, and I just gradually progressed from there. So that seems to be what worked for me anyway. Hope that helps somebody. I know rice is well respected and will work for people, but if you read both sides of the I don't want to say argument, really, it's not an argument, but if you just kind of research pro and against rice, then you'll just kind of get an idea of why some of the elements might be better in some scenarios than others, and you don't always just want to follow that protocol just because you've heard of it, or because someone who's followed it for a long time is still advising you to use it. Do a bit of research, see a medical professional ideally, which I didn't, so I just saw it up to Google. So take this all with a grain of salt or a grain of rice, whichever you prefer. But yes, see you next time.